All right, let's jump right into this deep dive. You've given us a really fascinating stack of sources today.
Yeah, quite a mix.
It covers, well, a whole spectrum of the crypto world right now. We've got Bitcoin forecasts, altcoin analysis, some specific project
Right,
updates.
and the pre-sale scene, which is always buzzing.
Exactly, pre-sales, and even, how bigger global economics might be playing a role.
It's a diverse collection for sure. It really shows the different forces and ideas kind of shaping the crypto market at the moment.
Absolutely. And our mission here is basically to slice through all this info, pull out the most important nuggets, the key insights from these sources,
Hmm.
and put it together in a clear picture, specifically for you, the listener.
Right?
Think of it as, well, getting a shortcut to understanding what's significant, what people are talking about in crypto quickly and deeply, just based purely on what you gave us.
We're trying to pull out the signal from the noise, yeah. Guided by these specific articles and reports.
Okay, perfect. Let's unpack this stack then, see what stands out. Naturally, we probably have to start with Bitcoin.
Makes sense.
One source, it looks like a guest post on CoinMarketCap by Coinomedia, throws out a pretty bold number.
Yes, that article highlights a significant price target prediction for Bitcoin, $150,000.
150K. Wow, okay. That's a big call. What does that source say is the basis for that prediction?
Well, according to that specific source, the target is signaled by a technical analysis pattern they're seeing on the charts.
Okay.
It's an inverted head and shoulders formation. And this pattern, it's often interpreted by traders as a pretty strong bullish indicator.
Bullish, right, suggesting a potential big upward move if it plays out.
Exactly. If it confirms, it suggests potential for a substantial move up. That's the idea from that source.
Okay, so that specific source is saying the charts themselves, this pattern in particular, are pointing towards that potential $150 K figure. It's one technical viewpoint.
Precisely. Just one analytical angle presented in the material you shared, focusing purely on those chart patterns.
Got it. Now, moving from Bitcoin's specific moves to the broader market, another piece in the stack, this one's from Voice of Crypto.
Hmm.
It brings up something a lot of crypto watchers are keen on, the idea of an altcoin season being maybe on the horizon.
Right. That article features the analyst Michael van de Poppe, and he does predict an upcoming altcoin season.
An altcoin season, yeah, the time when it feels like everything but Bitcoin is pumping hard.
Yeah, that's the feeling.
What indicators does he point to in that source? What suggests this shift might be coming?
He highlights two main factors he's apparently watching: Bitcoin dominance and broader market cycles.
Okay, dominance and cycles. Explain that a bit.
Well, the source suggests that when Bitcoin's dominance, its share of the total crypto market cap hits a certain point or maybe peaks,
Right.
that can often come before capital starts flowing more heavily into altcoins. It's tied to the sort of natural ebb and flow the market has historically shown.
Interesting. So if we kind of connect this back to the Bitcoin target we just talked about,
Yeah.
it suggests a potential sequence. Like maybe Bitcoin makes a big move, hits that peak dominance level, and that action then sets the stage for altcoins to potentially gain ground. Is that what the analyst in the source is suggesting?
That's the potential dynamic the Voice of Crypto article is hinting at, yes.
Hey.
A shift in market focus driven by these kinds of cyclical indicators.
Okay, that gives us the sort of big picture views, Bitcoin's potential path, the possibility of an altcoin season. But what about specific projects? Your sources also get into the nitty-gritty, right?
They do, yeah. Individual coin movements and news.
There's a piece from Canal Coin that dives into BOM.
Yes, that article gives us a bit of a snapshot of BONK. It notes it's facing some headwinds.
Headwinds, okay.
And specifically mentions a recent 28% monthly price dip.
Ouch, 28% dip. That sounds pretty rough. But what's really striking, I thought, about that same source is that right alongside that dip, it also cites these incredibly high potential figures, things like a reported 69% APY.
Right, and even a potential ROI figure of, what was it, 2,429%?
Exactly. That seems like quite a contrast.
It absolutely highlights that intense volatility and duality you often see, especially with things like meme coins.
Right.
So yeah, recent price struggles on one hand, according to the article, but then figures suggesting huge potential returns or yield on the other, based on different analyses within that same source. It paints a picture of, well, high risk, high potential.
Definitely shows the complexity. Another source, Optimisys, gives us a specific data point for Tron. What was that?
That article just mentions Tron signaling a 14% decline. It's a specific figure noted in that piece, kind of a snapshot of its recent performance according to them.
Got it. And then Cointelegraph covers Injective, INJ. What's the significant development highlighted there?
Ah, yes, this is a fascinating detail, I thought. The Cointelegraph article reports that a group called Canary Capital has established a Delaware trust.
A Delaware trust.
Yeah, for something they're calling a Canary Staked INJ ETF.
A staked INJ ETF. Okay, that sounds like TradFi meeting crypto yield farming.
Pretty much.
What does the source indicate is the significance of this move?
Well, according to the article, it's presented as a kind of preliminary step, a step towards potentially launching a financial product
Okay.
designed to give investors exposure, not just to the price of INJ, but also to the yield you get from staking it, participating in the network security.
Right, the staking rewards.
Exactly. So it's a concrete example, highlighted by that source, of how more traditional finance structures, like ETFs, are being explored and maybe developed to package up crypto assets and their native yields for perhaps a broader audience.
That really shows an evolution in how people are thinking about accessing these crypto assets. Okay, shifting gears completely now. Your sources also spend a fair bit of time in the burgeoning world of crypto presale.
Yes, that's definitely a theme.
The AICryptocore.com source, in particular, focuses on this top presale crypto in 2025 idea, and both that source and the Optimisys article mention BlockDAG.
They do, yes. These sources really highlight BlockDAG as a prominent player in the current presale landscape. According to the material you provided, BlockDAG is positioned as kind of leading the presale race.
Leading the race.
And it's reported to have raised a really substantial amount, $291 million.
Wow, $291 million raised just in a pre-sale phase. That number definitely jumps out from these sources.
It's a big number, yeah.
And the Optimisys article adds another interesting little detail about BlockDAG teasing something.
Yes, that specific detail about teasing a potential NBA deal is included in the Optimisys source. It adds another layer to the buzz and the marketing efforts surrounding BlockDAG reported in your material.
An NBA deal tease.
Yeah.
Interesting. Were there other presale projects featured in the sources besides BlockDAG?
Yes. The AICryptocore.com source also highlights a couple of others, projects named Dogs and Snorter.
Dog and Snorter, okay.
And it notes their inclusion in this top presale discussion is apparently based on factors like strong community engagement and perceived viral growth potential, stuff like that.
Right, the community angle, often key for those early projects. Okay, so we've covered quite a bit. Technical targets for Bitcoin, altcoin season calls, specific coin ups and downs like BONK and Tron, new financial product ideas like the staked INJ ETF thing.
And the presale market with BlockDAG.
Exactly. So to kind of wrap things up, one final piece from your stack, the BHNUWS article, pulls back the lens a bit, connects all this to a major global economic factor, the Bank of Japan.
Right. This is where the macro environment potentially influences the micro market activity we've just been discussing.
Right.
The BHNUWS article reports on the Bank of Japan's recent monetary policy actions.
And what did the BOJ do, according to that source?
Well, they decided to delay reducing their balance sheet and also potentially reinstate selective quantitative easing, or QE.
Delaying balance sheet reduction. Maybe more QE. Okay, that sounds like keeping the money taps open or even opening them wider, maintaining liquidity.
Essentially, yeah.
So how does the BHNUWS source connect this action specifically to risky assets, which, often includes crypto?
The source explicitly states that this move has, quote, stirred expectations of an increase in risky asset values.
Oh, okay.
So, basically, the thinking highlighted in the article is that when a major central bank signals it's going to continue injecting liquidity, or at least keep financial conditions loose, there's just more capital floating around in the system looking for returns. And some of that capital tends to flow into assets perceived as having higher potential returns, even if they come with higher risk, like crypto.
And for you, the listener watching the crypto market, this is important because why should you care about the Bank of Japan?
Well, because it suggests that these big global central bank decisions, things that might seem really distant from your crypto wallets, can actually create ripples. Ripples that influence investor sentiment and capital flows towards asset classes like cryptocurrencies. The source links the BOJ's action to an environment that could be more favorable for risky assets, which includes the very coins and projects we've been discussing.
So it's a reminder that crypto doesn't exist in a complete vacuum from the broader financial world.
Exactly. It connects a lot of the dots, potentially.
That's a really critical piece of context from your sources,
Hmm.
how even these macro policies can factor into the whole picture.
Ties things together.
So, wow, this deep dive has really pulled a wide range of insights from your sources today. We've gone from specific technical predictions for Bitcoin, maybe hitting 150K,
Inverted head and shoulders.
and forecasts for an altcoin season driven by market cycles to the volatile recent performance and potential figures for individual coins like BONK and Tron.
Right, the ups and downs.
We saw how a project like Injective is seeing the development of more traditional financial products. We dove into the high-stakes world of presales, featuring BlockDive's reported success and those intriguing teases,
Yeah, the MBA mention.
and tied it all back to the potential influence of major global central bank policies like the Bank of Japan's actions, possibly signaling good things for risky assets.
We've tried to synthesize those diverse pieces from the material you shared just to give you a concentrated, informed perspective on what's happening and what's being discussed in the crypto market right now, based on these sources.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex landscape out there, but hopefully this deep dive has helped cut through some of that complexity using the sources you provided as our guide.
Oh, so.
So here's maybe a final thought to leave you with, something drawn directly from all the material we've explored today. How do all these seemingly different threads, from the minute details of technical chart patterns, specific project news,
The pre-sale boom?
the emergence of entirely new fundraising models like pre-sales exactly, and the sort of sweeping impact of global central bank decisions, how do they all interact and weave together to form this dynamic, constantly changing picture of the crypto market that you are navigating today? Something to think about.